Hello, everyone. Excuse me, and good morning. I want to thank you for this wonderful opportunity to present at the 45th Annual Minnesota DAPE Conference. I'm hoping the information I share with you today will be beneficial in your professional and personal relationships that you have with your students, staff, parents, and community. Take a look at this classic picture. It's kind of old school. Who are you in this picture? Are you the girls sitting on the sidewalk? Are you the boys laying on the ground? Maybe the dad on the steps or the boy on the bike. As we go through today's session, think about who you are in this picture. Little introductions. My name is Bryan Wickoren. I'm a native of Fargo, North Dakota. The picture on the left is of myself and my wife, Cheryl, celebrating our 25th wedding anniversary last year in Ireland. In the background are the Cliff of Moors. Cheryl's a native of Coon Rapids, and she went to University of Wisconsin-La Crosse and grad school at St. Cloud State University. She's currently an elementary PE teacher in Douglas County School District. And the picture on the right is of our three daughters. Abigail on the left, she's a student at Metro State University, Denver. Madeline in the middle, works for Moorhead Public Schools. And Emma on the right, she's in vet school at North Dakota State University. I'm currently in my 32nd year in the education profession. I was the recipient of the 2019 Shape America Central District Adapted PE Teacher of the Year. I'm a two-time Colorado Adapted PE Teacher of the Year in 2017 and 2009. I've taught adapted PE for 27 years and elementary for 4 years. I'm currently starting my 15th year in Jeffco Public Schools. We're a district on the west side of Denver of 154 schools and around 86,000 students. Previous to my current position, I was in Palmdale School District for 17 years. That's in California. And also in the Fargo Public Schools in North Dakota. My education consists of a master's in special ed from Grand Canyon University. I also have an adapted PE specialist credential from California State University, Northridge. And from Moorhead State University in Minnesota, I have undergrad, a BS in business education and physical education. Mostly nationally certified adapted physical educator. And September of 2019, I was inducted into the Fargo South High School Hall of Fame. So during our session today, please silence your cell phones. You're going to need those for a couple activities later on to take QR code pictures and some work on a Padlet. And once again, I thank you for this opportunity. Today, here's our agenda where we're going to look at covering some big three ideas: engaging, inclusive, kindness. We're going to show some community involvement, some distant remote activity ideas, and then some Q&A at the end of our session. So engaging, how can we, in our big three ideas looking today, how can we be more engaging with our students, our staff, our parents, and relate that when we're teaching in our physical education class? How can we be more inclusive with our students, our staff, our community, and our parents? And kindness, how can we teach kindness to all our students that can carry over to our parents and staff through what we do in physical education? Well, we can accomplish those three big ideas, engaging, inclusive, and kindness, through our effort and attitude, which during this pandemic is testing us all on both professional and personal front. Importance to teach social emotional learning and physical education and health is more important than ever, and it should be incorporated in every part of our lesson. Yes, this will take a lot of effort on our part, but with the right attitude, you will make a huge impact on your students you work with. Let's watch this short little video. It's a collaborative effort by several PE teachers on social emotional learning. Just a second as I share my screen.
Why teach social emotional learning in health and physical education? Research shows that social emotional learning has both immediate and long-term effects on mental health, social skills, and academic performance. And you don't have to take it from me. Here's the messages and alarming statistics from some of my favorite educators as to why you should incorporate social emotional learning in health and physical education.
Why incorporate SEL in phys ed? Lack of social connection is worse for our health than smoking, obesity, and high blood pressure. It's not an exaggeration to say that lack of social connection can kill us.
2 out of every 5 Americans report being lonely and without someone to confide in.
A study by Brigham Young University found that social isolation increases our risk of death by 32%.
Students report a lack of connection as one of their reasons to dropping out.
Loneliness is as risky to our health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
25% of Americans say they have no one to connect to or depend on. That's 80 million people that have no one.
We crave connection, and when we don't have it, we find ways to get it, and often in unhealthy ways.
Loneliness has been linked to violence towards oneself and others.
Research shows that phubbing, or phone snubbing, because it is associated with lower relationship satisfaction, contributes to greater feelings of depression.
Kids are so disconnected and angry, they turn to violence against their community and themselves. It's no coincidence that mass shooting and suicide rates are skyrocketing.
Stress is an inevitable part of life. 7 out of 10 adults in the United States say they experience stress or anxiety daily, and most say it interferes at least moderately with their lives.
Duke and the University of Arizona have been watching. According to their research, 30 years ago, we had 3 close friends. Today, we're lucky if we have 1.
77% of youth in grades 6 through 10 reported verbal abuse by a peer at some point in the last school year.
Houston, we have a problem. Now let's revisit why teach social emotional learning in health and physical education? What can you gain by incorporating social and emotional learning? You gain kinder, caring, compassionate students. You gain students who can control themselves. You gain students who appreciate others and communicate better. And you gain students who can resolve conflict. But what do you give up when you incorporate social and emotional learning? You give up referrals, detentions, and students who dread coming to school. Perhaps the better question is why not?
So once again, our physical education class can be the leader in our school setting as we explain and demonstrate that value of all human beings through our effort and attitude towards cultures, languages, and ability levels of each individual student in our class. We accept, we are compassionate, we have diversity, We exhibit kindness. We show it respect, and we are tolerant of individual students and staff. We welcome all learners in our physical education class. So we talk our first big idea is engaging. How do I engage my students? How do I help a student who interrupts the class? How do I help plan to ensure all students are included? Think about these three questions when we look at our next slide. When we have this activity for 2 minutes, you have 2 columns on this Padlet. On the first column, share out an idea on effort for engaging. On the second column, share out an idea on an attitude for engaging. So we're looking at engaging. What can we do as an effort? What can we do as an attitude? Take out your phone or iPad, scan the QR code, and that will take you to the Padlet to do our activity. So, ready? Up will pop a little icon on your, to go to the Padlet. I'm gonna start our clock. You have 2 minutes, 2 minutes. You have 1 minute. 1 minute to go.
Oh, it's something magical. It's in the air, it's in my blood, it's rushing on. I don't need no reason, don't be control. I fly so high, no ceiling when I'm in my zone. Cause I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off of it, moving so phenomenally. Come on, rock the way we rock it, so don't stop, under the lights when everything goes. Nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine.
You got 10 seconds left.
Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel the good creeping up on you, so just dance.
All right, let's stop there. So you can get off our Padlet. We're going to come back to that. All right, so when we look at engaging, we have this little chart here. And you know, when you're completing your, you're completing your activity on writing what you can do for effort and attitude. Did any of the responses that you see on this chart come to mind? Like you appreciate your students, your parents, your staff. You show support to get them engaged. Find something that they can do, which goes along involvement. That all ties back into being respectful for each other, and their abilities will go a long way with engaging our students to participate in physical activities and be lifelong movers, engaging in activities that they can do and enjoy those with others. So what are we doing to get our students engaged and be more active? All right, little activity here. You can click on that tiny URL up there and there's a bunch of activities, but this is the one we're gonna do. So at your, where you are right now, can you find a ball? I usually start this with, and I do this activity throughout the year with my students, but we start with juggling scarves or plastic bags, like a Target bag or Cub food bag or Rainbow Foods. I'm trying to think what else is back there in Minnesota. Byerly's, Lund's. And then we eventually, you know, work our way up to using bean bags and success balls. I use a lot. Those are those balls with foam inside from Sport Time. So here's what we're gonna do with your piece of equipment: toss and catch. I got a little squeaky ball, so you can just toss and catch, working on eye-hand coordination. Toss and catch. Then we're gonna toss it and try to catch with the other hand. Toss it, try to catch with the other hand. Then we're gonna toss, clap, catch. Toss, clap, catch. Then we're gonna toss and catch, go around your waist. Toss and catch, go around your waist. All right. Then we're going to do toss, catch, around your waist, toss, clap, catch. So we're gonna work on some patterns with our students. Then we're gonna balance on one leg and go under a knee, balance on the other leg, go under the other knee. Then we're gonna put our feet, spread them apart, and we're gonna make the number 8 with their object. Whatever we're using, piece of crumpled up paper, a balloon, an apple, an orange, something that's easy to catch. And then we eventually try to make it a little bit harder. We'll do bean bags, we'll do tennis balls, but it's just an activity. So those are just ideas what to do, working on eye-hand coordination, different planes of the body, crossing the midline of the body, and success has been amazing. Like I said, we do this all year long. You know, we'll start with scarves at the beginning of the year, we'll move to success balls, we'll move to bean bags, and try by the end of the year doing it with tennis balls. Sometimes students need a slower moving ball or a larger ball. You can also incorporate those. All right, inclusive. Moving on to inclusive. So inclusive environment is what we all strive for in our profession with our students in the physical education class setting or just in the school setting in general. When looking at this picture, our goal is for our students with disabilities to get to the far right. No barriers for our students. This will take a lot of effort and attitude to get our students to that last set of students on this picture. As sometimes you get resistance from the student. Oh, I can't do that, or that's too hard. Or even the parents will chime in and say, no, I don't think Susie and Johnny should be doing that. Oh, my child isn't able to do that. But our goal is to break down the barriers. And even sometimes we get staff like, no, I don't think they should do that. But we really got to focus on what students can do. We got to focus on their ability, not their disability, and make it an inclusive environment for them all. All right, here we go back to our Padlet again. We're going to get our phone out, our iPad, scan our QR code down here at the bottom. And sorry about that, we are looking for an idea in the effort column under inclusive. Share an idea on the Padlet, and also on our attitude. You know, what type of attitude do we have, and what type of effort are we going to make for our students to be more inclusive in our school setting, in our physical education setting? So you're going to have 2 minutes to share out on the Padlet. Ready, get set. Let me get the timer ready here. Probably some of you are on there already. And go. I'll put on some music. See what I have here.
It might seem crazy what what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon like a ghost face. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy, clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like that's what you want.
1 minute to go.
Here come bad news, talking this and that. Well, give me all you got and don't hold it back. Well, I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. No offense to you, don't waste your time. Here's why. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Bring me down, can't nothing bring me down. The love is too hard, bring me down.
All right. So hopefully you're able to share those, sorry about that, share those ideas on the Padlet. Our next slide. So to further talk about inclusive, hopefully some of these ideas popped up when you were writing your responses on the Padlet. You know, when we look with our students with special needs, are we acknowledging that they can, given the opportunity, with the appropriate accommodations, modifications, adaptations, be successful in our class with their ability? Are we communicating to all, not just the student, but to the parents, to the student's peers, to the staff, that they are capable of participating and being inclusive in class? And do we have cooperation, not just from the student, but from the administration, to show that, yes, it is appropriate for Susie or Johnny, who's in a power chair or a manual chair, or has some type of disability, that they can be in our class and be successful, given the appropriate modifications and accommodations. Just like we talked about in engaging, we want them to be lifelong movers so that they enjoy activity, and finding that, making these accommodations, that they can be successful. Some of the goals I talk about with staff when I go around to the schools, especially the high schools, sometimes we get, oh, they can't do that, or it's more competitive, you know, we're doing team sports. But, you know, these are the goals that I have set out for our staff and our students, and I talk about them with the families and IEPs. You know, students to participate in best practice activities to support the standards-based PE program curriculum. You know, are we making appropriate accommodations, adaptation, modification to ensure all students can successfully access the PE curriculum? Always ask the student what they would like to do. Sometimes they can verbalize it, or if not verbalize it, they can show a choice by a picture board what they would like to do. And the most important thing I always talk about is focus on their ability, not their disability. We all have disabilities. Some are just more pronounced than others. So, Inclusion Revolution is here. Inclusion teaches everyone love and kindness and empathy. Let's be committed to that. Let's be committed to this inclusive revolution. This is a program that we started in the elementary school a few years ago. I was lucky enough to be with an outstanding administrator. And so we started with some of our special ed programs, which has carried over, been a great transition for those unified middle school PE programs and high school PE programs. So the elementary version, we call it PALS, Peers Actively Learning Side by Side. It's the PALS program. So each student in the class is partnered up. They meet them at the gym door during adaptive physical education class. They also work with them in the classroom setting during your gen ed time. So there's a document, a link down there on the right. If you click on that or type that in, it will take you to the little application, because we want our parents on board too for the PALS, for both students in special needs in our special ed classes and the gen ed students. So everybody's on the same page. It's been a huge success, and we're trying to grow it in more and more elementary schools. However, this year with COVID, it's kind of on a pause right now until we get back to where it was pre-pandemic. Another thing that we've been doing was started by a lady named Mary Carpenter, and she started this 41 years ago. It's a huge event for all our elementary students at the end of the year. And this past May, we had to postpone it. Would have been the 42nd annual. And we're hoping to return this May of 2021 for the 42nd annual. But it's open to all our students with special needs in our programs. And those are some of the events that you can see on the top up there. It's all inclusive. We have walkers. So we have running events. We have throwing events, tossing events. And we're lucky enough this Gold Crown Fieldhouse opens up their doors and allows us to participate there. And we get close to 200 students that participate district-wide, and it's all volunteer based. So we have high school students that come and volunteer. Part of their graduation requirement in Jeffco Public Schools is that they put in so many hours of community service as their graduation requirement. So it's a great day and a great event, and students come and have pizza and drinks and fruit afterwards, and then they go back to their school. So, and they're also awarded ribbons. They get up to 3 ribbons. They can participate in as many events as they would like, but they only get 3 ribbons the day of this event. So just trying to throw that out, make more inclusive for our students. Here's some ideas that you could do. Develop and create a adapted or unified sports day for your students. It could be similar to what Mary Carpenter started 41 years ago, and it's still going strong. And it was about 3 or 4 years ago, we renamed it in her honor. It's now called the Mary Carpenter Tournament of Champions, and she's an amazing lady. She's, I think, 85, 86 years old. So, but here's some ideas. I just put on here that you could make a special day for your students. It's great that we do inclusion with our students, but the cool things that we do some of this reverse mainstreaming, reverse inclusion. We get the gen ed students to come be a part of their day, and not always pushing in, but reversing it and having Gen Ed students push into us, and the students that we work with. All right, so kindness, our third big idea that we've talked about today. How can we foster a more kind and teaching and learning environment for our students? Looking at this word wall, you know, we see others and everyone, acceptance, friends, unity, friendship, understanding, love. And then you look at the picture on the left. Wow, isn't that cool? The catcher from one team is tying the baseball cleat of the batter on the other team. And I cut the umpire out. He's on the side behind the catcher, but he's kind of laugh. You could see he's got a smile on his face. And it's a great picture of showing kindness to each other. And it's not always about the wins. And it's more about how we treat each other. And we need more of this kindness. All right, so let's get out our Padlet one more time, or for our cell phones, excuse me, for our Padlet. You're going to look at our effort and kindness, and an idea for effort or attitude and kindness. So let's put down an idea for effort and kindness and an idea for attitude and kindness. Scan that QR code. I'm going to start the timer. Ready, get set, go. And I'll see you in 2 minutes.
Hey. The heart is a balloon, shoots up through the
1 minute to go.
There's no room, no space to win in this town. You're out of luck, and the reason that you had to care, traffic is stuck. You're not moving anywhere. You thought you found the thread to take you out of this place. Someone you could lend a hand in return for grace. It's a beautiful day. Sky falls and feel like a beautiful day. You got no destination in the mud.
All right, let's come back off our Padlet and on to our next slide. And it's kind of looking at this, we talk about being kind. Down at the bottom, the caption says, clearing a path for people with special needs clears the path for everyone. So the student is sitting there saying, could you please shovel the ramp to the person with the shovel? And he responds back, all these other kids are waiting to use the stairs. When I get through shoveling them off, then I will clear the ramp for you. And he responds, but if you shovel the ramp, we can all get in. So it's just a different way of looking at it. And sometimes that's about educating and advocating that, yeah, if we clear a path for the people with special needs, it clears a path for everyone. So some of the kindness skills that we teach in our physical education and health class settings, are lifetime skills. We're teaching taking turns. We're working on starting and stopping. We're working on problem solving and personal space, cause and effect, self-control, cooperating, working together, sequencing. We just did a sequencing with our toss and catch activity, and then safety and awareness. Again, looking at all this will take effort and attitude, but can be achieved by making our students more kind, productive citizens as they go out in the world. So when you commit to something bigger than yourself, you will rise to a level much bigger than yourself. So it's taking attitude and it's taking effort to address our big three ideas today about engaging our students, having an inclusive environment for our students and staff, parents, community, and the kindness. Kindness by showing and demonstrating kindness to our students, to our colleagues, to our staff, to our parents and those in the community. Here's a slide of one of my favorite all-time students. I have many of them, but Katie is very unique. I started working with Katie back when she was in second grade, and this is her last year graduating from high school at the Coors Events Center and on the campus of University of Colorado. I had the privilege to work with her weekly. She never, ever gave up. She was such an inspiration to all. She was always engaging in what she needed to be done, wanted to do. We worked really hard on an inclusive setting from elementary, middle school, and high school, and it was embraced by her peers. They always included her. She was always kind to others, and others were kind to her. When she was a freshman in high school at our IEP meeting, her goal was to be able to walk across a stage to receive her diploma when she graduated as a high school senior. And last May 2019, she did that with support of students and staff and making sure that she attained her goal. And the picture on the right is her walking across receiving her diploma. She got out of her chair and used her walker for support to walk across the stage. She's such a great young lady. And many, many things to come ahead for her. All right, so, whoops, excuse me, the slides here. On to community involvement. So one of the things we've been doing the last few years, maybe you can do this to have a more inclusive environment with your students, Gen Ed. Sorry about the Gen Ed and our students with special needs. Developing a school climate, culture we're talking about, being kind, everything that we're talking about today. So this first slide here is an Eagle Scout project. This is our first of 5. I'm just going to show you really quick. So this student here, he's an Eagle Scout at Wheat Ridge High School in Wheat Ridge, Colorado, one of our high schools in the district. For his Eagle Scout project, he wanted to make adapted basketball hoops. Well, he did pass the AP bucket, a can, at home games at his high school the boys and girls game and raised enough money to make 30 adapted basketball hoops for our students in the schools. So elementary through high school benefited by this project. The next slide, just FYI, how to make them. So you can spend the money, or you can look at this slide and shows you how to make them. All right, our next slide is a young man in another Eagle Scout project he wanted to do. So his idea is, how can I help students that are participating in floor hockey? So we gave him a couple templates of the foam end of a hockey stick. And for his Eagle Scout project, he made 10 traditional foam hockey sticks that he's holding in his right hand. And then he made 20 adapted hockey sticks for students who are either in a power or manual wheelchair to participate in floor hockey unit during physical education class, or on our hockey day that we have in February as part of our Jeffco Adapted Athletics. Our next slide is another Eagle Scout project. This was, how can we help our students that are in chairs or in walkers or gait trainers when they need more accommodations for bowling or rolling. So this young man, for his Eagle Scout project, he made 2 sizes of bowling ramps. He made 10 for the high schools that are the bigger ones. And then he made 15 of the smaller ones that are in his right hand for the elementary students, so that they can participate in the bowling unit during their physical education class, or on bowling day that we have in November as part of our Jeffco Adapted Athletics. You can see the student in the second picture or the picture on the right. He's in his gait trainer and he's rolling the ball down at a target of, I think we had 3 or 4 pins for him to roll the ball at. And our next Eagle Scout project, getting our community involved. This is a high school student. She's benefiting by the 15 soccer guards that attach to the footrests of a student in a manual chair. And then we have 10 of those that were made. And then we have, 5 of these that are made. So Ashley here's in a manual chair. And then we have 15 that are made for students in power chairs so that they can participate in soccer, either in a soccer unit during physical education class or on our soccer day that we have in September. These are all made out of PVC pipe, all the stuff that I've been showing you. And our last one, this just happened recently. This is an archery adaptation for archery. So we have 2 tabletop versions. This is our 5th Eagle Scout project. These have all been done over the last couple years. And then we have a stand-up. So we have 2 tabletops, 2 stand-up. Here is the stand-up you can see, and we're gonna watch a short video so I can show you this great project that just a second I'm sharing. You share. Let me get it up here. Here it comes.
A special delivery is happening here at Fletcher Miller School in Lakewood. It's courtesy of Jeffco Eagle Scout and Golden View Classical Academy student Aiden Linehan and his parents. They're offloading a set of equipment that will give Fletcher Miller's differently abled students the opportunity to try something the school has never offered before: archery.
I really wanted a way to get our special needs students involved with archery, and I know archery is inclusive of everybody, just sometimes you need the right tools.
The right tools in this case came after Westall heard from the district's adapted athletics coordinator, Bryan Wickoren, that there was an Eagle Scout in search of a project, and the collaboration on design and construction of 4 archery sets began.
He wanted a stand to hold these bows so the kids can either just pull the string back, let it go, or just have like a lever system that they can just press and release the bow.
So we went out, spent a couple of hours Sunday afternoon just using the wood we had and made a prototype, and it wasn't quite as shiny as that is right now, and so based on that prototype, he refined it, and that's what you got right now.
Very proud, excited for him. A unique project, just something out of the ordinary.
Time for a dry run in the Fletcher Miller gym.
I was pretty surprised at how fast it actually shoots the arrow.
The true test will come just 2 days later when Fletcher Miller's student archers get the chance to try. It's Friday morning, and one by one, the students arrive for their PE class. One by one, they engage in a few laps around the gym as part of a little warm-up, and then the archery lesson begins.
It was pretty cool just seeing the kids being able to press down the lever, shoot the arrow. It was pretty cool.
It's sort of overwhelming. It was sort of humbling, actually, to these kids are struggling just to push down that lever, and we do stuff every day. We just take it all for granted. I thought it was cool that they had that opportunity to do the archery. That was neat.
It's just going to bring another opportunity for our students. We try and figure out any way, any activity, soccer, football, bowling, volleyball, it doesn't matter what. Our students are able to do everything, and this just opens another door of another activity for them to experience. We're trying to create lifelong, active people. He really worked his tail off to create an awesome way to include everybody in our school.
All right, so let me go back to our slide presentation. That was pretty, yeah, amazing. All right.
We should.
There we go. All right. The joys of technology. Okay. So yeah, that's our looking at the two tabletop and standing. Fletcher Millers are most severe students in the district. The PE class is small, probably not more than 5 or 6 in a class, and they all have their own OT on staff there, PT, nurses, and it's a small school setting, probably around, I don't know, 90 to 100 students, K through 12. And like I said, it's our most medically fragile students that are attend Fletcher Miller. So they get all the cool toys. So they don't travel much. Or the PE teacher does not travel. He's not itinerant. He's an adaptive PE teacher there. All right, so on to the last few things. So we've been doing a lot last spring of using plickers to show students different locomotor skills and throwing skills. Sometimes we test them. You know, Plickers has now come out with e-learning where you don't actually need the Plicker, the little QR black figure. There's a unique code to them and a unique URL to them is what I should say. And so it's the way that they've looked at to help with assessment of students. So I use it more for, you know, watch the 4 videos. Like I'm not going to go through it right now, but, you know, like it says example of skipping. So we'll watch it and we'll talk about it. What student is skipping of the 4? And so it's more, I share the screen with them and I talk to them about it. Where it says locomotor or the question of the day, there's somebody, Phys Ed Review has developed an extensive library of all these type of videos, short little videos. And it's a great way to work with your student on object control skills and locomotor skills, balance skills. So that's some of the stuff that we've been doing for distant and remote. One of the things that we're doing a lot right now, this is one of my group of students. We've been working on sensory pathways, and there's a link to a school in Manitoba that has done it in the hallway. That's been the big thing. Where my office is at one of the elementary schools here in the central part of our district, they've created numerous pathways, sensory pathways out on the blacktop. And so that's one of the things that's being done at a lot of the elementary schools is sensory pathways outside to keep that social distance learning during this time. And so one of the things I just want to touch briefly on too is this is an ongoing, even with people that are in the special ed world, the difference between, about the slides here, the difference between adaptive and adaptive and how they should never be interchangeable. So many people still say adaptive, IVE, instead of adapted. So I'm always correcting them. I'm educating them and advocating, you know, we're adapting the curriculum. We're not adaptive is in terms of changing the student's behavior. So an example of that, but I don't know if you guys run into that, but we're always constantly doing that. All right, keeps going to this slide, so we might as well get on it. So here we are at the end. Sometimes you just have to go for it. And this time of the pandemic, and you just have to figure out who are you in this picture we talked about in the beginning, you know, and then hopefully you've come up with some ideas of how to be more engaging with your students, how to be more inclusive with your students, how to be more, show more kindness in your teaching and interactions and relationships, not just your students, but your staff and your parents and those in the community, and make it a more kind world. So, so you just sometimes have to go for it. Are you the girls sitting on the sidewalk? Are you the boys laying on the ground? Or are you the dad on the steps? He's kind of, if you were to zoom in, he's kind of got a smile on his face like, what could go wrong? Or are you the boy on the bike? So have an engaging, inclusive, and kindness-filled year. And hopefully we'll be back to normal shortly. So again, thank you for your participation. Here's my contact information. And you can email me. That's my Twitter. And I think now we're going to go to questions.